টানলাছে টান দিতে পারছি মাছটা দেন
Good morning. On behalf of Conflict and Resilience Research Institute Canada, I welcome all of you to today's special webinar session titled Rohingya Genocide, Memory, Mobilization, and the Path Forward. The audience, today is a somber day, 25th of August. 8 years ago, Rohingyas were displaced forcefully from their motherland, Rakhine, also known as Arakan. Today, we have gathered our Rohingya activists, young people from the camps, and as well as subject matter expert Dr. Imtiaz Ahmed from Bangladesh. With us today, also our founder advisor, David Newman, is with us as a professional lawyer, and we'll expect to listen to their comments about as I titled this session, Memory, Mobilization, and Path Forward. Before we begin, let me do the treaty recognition. The institute is based on the original lands of Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and on the homeland of Metis Nation. We all are treaty people, and we are promise bound to work together in the true spirit of truth and reconciliation. The audience, as I was referring to, today is the 8th year of Rohingya genocide. This day is commemorated, and at this time, it is widely commemorated in Bangladesh. And I understand there is a 3-day meeting conference going on in Bangladesh. Today, we are going to focus on what we have seen in the past, and especially we have two invited Rohingya guests in our studio, and we are going to listen to them about their expectations in moving forward. Also, we have a subject matter expert, genocide scholar, Dr. Imtiaz Ahmed from Bangladesh, who kindly consented to join in a short notice. So, without further ado, let me start requesting Dr. Imtiaz Ahmed to kindly reflect upon the topic of memory mobilization and what do we really expect in the future. As we have heard, Dr. Yunus has spoken about his expectation, Bangladesh government's expectation, putting forward seven, I would say, proposals. And specifically, I'm very interested to listen and reflect on the one of the proposals that drew my attention is about international community. And I think People's Republic of China has also commented that this conflict is going on and on because there is no consensus among international community to come to a resolution of this conflict. So, on that particular note, let me welcome Dr. Imtiaz Ahmed. Sir, if you kindly tell us more about your take on this matter after
Kausar,
8 years.
Kausar, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I was thinking that if we can hear, both Abdullah and Moshoor speak first,
Okay, sir.
then we will get a ground knowledge and, of course, the expectations. And then if I and David come, I think that would be more meaningful. So my
That is all
request
right,
would
sir.
be for them to go first.
That is totally all right, sir. Let me then welcome Mosharaf. Do you want to go ahead then talk about your expectations, what you have seen over these past 8 years?
Why not, sir? I'm here actually. Before that, I just requesting. We have another speaker who is waiting for your permission to be in lives now. Then please
I
check
don't see him
this.
though.
Musa, I
Mosharaf, I
think
don't
Musa
see
is
him.
there.
No, he's not. Anyway,
No,
if he comes, I
not
will
yet.
add him. Okay, you go on. You carry on.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So, dear respected guests and professor and speaker, Assalamu alaikum. Today, we all know that today is a remarkable day and also a horrible day for the Rohingya on the 25th August in 2017. And today, we all the Rohingya peoples gathered with grief and determination to mark this commemoration of 8 years anniversary of our genocide day in the camp as well. And also, we all are aware that some of the Bangladesh governments and international stakeholders are also taking 3 days initiative in Cox's Bazar regarding this as well. And these days, actually, not only a day of mourning for us, but also a day of truth, a day to remember the life we taken, the life we lost in 2017, and also a day to renew our call for justice. On this day in 2017, the Myanmar military brutally launched a campaign of a terror against the Rohingya Muslim in Northern Rakhine State in Myanmar. Today, we remember these days, and along with all the international community and all the international stakeholders, the life we have lost, the family massacred, and the village were burned into ashes, and the countless families into statelessness in Bangladesh in 2017. And also, women and children were subjected to brutal violence like killing, sexual violence, burning, etc. Those pain of that day still continue to harm over a million Rohingya in the refugee camp, still confined in the camp of Bangladesh, and the hundreds are struggling under the repression and the insecurity inside the Myanmar as well. And all the guests are also aware that in 2017, about 750,000 Rohingya have been forcibly displaced into a cross border in Bangladesh and living in a crowded area in the Cox's Bazar refugee camp. And also today, about 1.3 million of our Rohingya right now in the camps remains as a refugee in Bangladesh. We are forced to live without security, without homelands, and without the citizenship and without the access to higher education as well. However, our suffering did not end in 2017, and also last year, recently in 2024, we face what we can only call as a second wave genocide. This time is not in Myanmar military, but in Rakhine State. It's it is in the hand of Arakan army that we all know that it's a rebel group of in Arakan. According to ground report, we know there have been published many kinds of report, but from the ground report, we know more than 174,000 Rohingya have been forcibly displaced as IDP in Butidon Township and Mount Township, while about 130,000 Rohingya have been driven forcibly into Bangladesh once again in recent 1 year. And the Arakan army has also carried out the mass killing with at least 4,000 Rohingya murdered and about 6,000 Rohingya were abducted by in their detentions during 2 years. And also about 600 women were subjected to brutal violence like rapes and other sexual forms of violence. And the Rohingya community have been also subjected to extortion with oaths, billions of Myanmar money and denied access to communication and other basic human rights in the regions after in 2017 as well. So the ongoing persecution showed that Rohingya genocide is not a history, and it is a continued process that happening still today, right now in Myanmar. And however, we are here today to honor the life we lost in 2017 and the recent victim of 2024. We must tell that we must tell the world that the crimes against our people, the crimes against our Rohingya, is not an isolated event, but a part of a continued genocide. We call upon the international and the United Nations as well, and EU and all the stakeholders who are taking the initiative to address our situation, to address our rights, and who are working for the repatriation as well. And our call also for all the stakeholders to hold military leaders and the accountables of their crimes, and also the Arkan army as an they also be must accountable for their crimes that is the witnesses that we have been seen since last year. Despite all the suffering, we Rohingya want to make a clear message to the world that we are still ready. We are ready to return to our homeland in Myanmar. We want to go back with our dignity, safety, and justice, and also full right as a Rohingya identity, not with others' identity like others' form of names. We want to make, we want to go back with our Rohingya identity that was taken away before from us, and also our. Despite the horror we face, we have not been silent in the camp. Although it's going in 8 years, we have not been silent still. Our resilience is our strength. Our children are growing in the camps. They are learning, and our youths are standing as a leader who are trying to empower our community inside the camps through the community leads and through the community initiative. So our voice are also rising across the globe, and we are not only a victim. The Rohingya are not only a victim. We are survivor as well in the camp who are determined to reclaim our homeland, to reclaim our identity, to reclaim our dignity, to reclaim our rights that was taken away in by the Myanmar government.
Thank you.
And on
Thank
this
you.
day, let us unite in the memory of those we lost, in solidarity with those still suffering, and determination to seek the justice. We, the Rohingya, are still continuing struggling for the fight, to fight for the truth, to fight for our rights, to fight for our dignity, to fight for our freedom. So in this day, for 8 years, the Rohingya people have been lived with just without justice, rights, or a future. And most of you know that the promises of accountability and safe return have remained unfulfilled still. While humanitarian response and humanitarian support is decreasing day by day, and the despair deepens, the world cannot let this tragedy become as a forgotten crisis. We Rohingya are still in the Rohingya are still suffering. You all know that as well. Today I have just a 2.3, 2 or 3 point to highlight that as a call for justice in this day for us. This is justice and accountability. The first one is to urgently appeal to the international community to act with unity, determination, and the humanity to deliver a solid and lasting solution to the Rohingya crisis. The one is justice and accountability. Support ongoing legal process, including the case of ICG and ICC and the Argentina court, to hold the perpetrators of genocides and crimes against humanity and of the humanity accountable, ensuring justice as a proper mechanism, including the Rohingya voices, the Rohingya survivors, and the families are heard. Safe. Another number two is safe, voluntarily, and dignified repatriation. That must be guarantee condition in Myanmar for a sustainable return. The citizenship with the Rohingya identity, the security for freedom of movement, and and must be the restoration of our lands and rights. Another one point that is very urgent in the camps where we have been temporary sheltering in Bangladesh, protection and rights in where we are still being as a refugee in Bangladesh. Stringent for these camps, the Rohingya needs the stringent international support for the Bangladesh host community and the Rohingya community in the local area, in the contest area. In Rohingya refugee and the local host community are still suffering with this crisis. So that ensuring refugees have been access to higher education, access to proper healthcare, and access to the livelihood, and also security in the camp. As we all know that since in 8 years, this year is the marks for the founding couples in recent in US founding is also the education sector that is shattering since 3 months. The students, our children are growing up. They miss their school. They cannot able to go their learning center right now. And with these challenges, many kinds of challenges happen in the camp, like kidnappings. The adolescents can be radicalizations. They are also can be involved in human trafficking as well. So that the education sector is still being in their very unavoidable situation still now. So that in this situation, the Rohingya needs this stringent international support to access the higher education, the healthcare, and the livelihood, and also the security.
Thank you. Thank you
That
so much.
that must be sustained for the reverse funding cut that have left Rohingya families without adequate foods and educations and the shelters. Ensure inclusive eat that empower Rohingya leads initiative and community resilience. It must need to be community resilience here as well. And we know that this is very important. We have been seeing some more extensive challenges in this year in 2025 due to the funding crashes.
Thank you. Thank you,
So
Musharraf.
I
Thank
hope
you so
it's
much.
enough, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much,
Thank,
sir.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Musharraf works with CRRIC. He runs our education project in the camps, and this is why he has first-hand information about what is going on in the education sector. Thank you, Musharraf. Let me welcome now Abdullah Arakani, who is patiently waiting in the wings. Abdullah, go ahead, unmute the mic, and you can speak.
Okay, sir. Thank you for having me here. Yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah, it's an honor to be here. That to speak in front of you all, and then I want to thank to all of you that for having me here. And as I as today as we gather to commemorate on Rohingya Genocide Day, our heart carries the painful memory of the atrocities committed against our people, the Rohingya people, the mass killings that, like in 2017 and 1942 and the 2017, and then even in 2024, and still ongoing, and that this and the destruction of our villages and the forced displacement of hundreds of the Rohingyas in 2017 remain an open on in our collective memory. We pray for the martyrs who lost their lives, and we honor the resilience of those who survived. But alongside this pain, we also carry a dream, the dream of one day returning to our homeland in Myanmar with dignity, rights, and safety. And we are really, we are deeply grateful to the Bangladesh government and its people for hosting us and for saving our lives, and all of you know that the situations in 2027, and we fled Myanmar to save for the safety, and then we were forced to leave, and hundreds of people were killed. And in this situation, the Bangladesh has stand by us, and then they gave us the protection, and then they shelter us, and we are really thankful for the Bangladesh government and its people for sheltering us in our darkest time. We also know that the camps cannot be our permanent home. Our true home is in Arkan, Myanmar, where our ancestors lived for centuries. The only lasting solution is safe, voluntary, and dignified repatriation. But repatriation cannot mean simply crossing the borders, and it must mean returning to our villages and climbing our own land and being recognized as full citizens of Myanmar and with our Rohingya identity respected, receiving national identity cards and the right to votes and and right to votes and freedom of movement, having freedom of movement, and then also and access to higher education, and everything should be ensured, and everything should must be ensured. After that, we can go back to our home. And you all know that about the situation of Arkan now, and then since 2000, even now in 2025, many of the people are waiting in the border of Arkan and by the Naf River, and the many of the people, thousands of the people, are trying to join us in the Bangladesh refugee camp. In this situation, and then it is almost impossible to go back to to Arkan state, to our homeland. And what I'm trying to say is that we had to leave our country, our homeland, because of the atrocities, and also starting from the 2024, and the many people are being killed, and then many people were displaced, and where many people are being displaced, and then also even today in 2025, and in many areas our people are starving, and our people are out of their home, and our people were displaced, and then they don't have anything. They don't have anything, and then they are some of them are eating leaves, water from the streams, like that. And then in these situations, the going back to our country is almost impossible for us. And and I just want to mention that the justice and the recognition must be ensured. And what if I say about the justice, our people they were in 2027, many people were killed, like in the Gudapiang and like in Tulatuli village, and also in 2024 Hoyasuri village by the Arkan army. And all of these, whether we before going back to Arkan, because before going back to our home, the crimes again the crimes committed against humanity, and the crimes against humanity committed by the Arkan army and the Myanmar must face justice in international court. And then the and our rights and our citizenship and our identity and must be restored, and then our citizenship must be restored. That the and then also there is having freedom of movement, education, healthcare, and livelihood opportunities, ensuring justice and accountability for the genocide, and so that such atrocities are never repeated. For repatriation to be successful, the condition in Myanmar must fundamentally change. The discriminatory laws, including the 1982 citizenship law, must be removed. Our right must be guaranteed in law and in practice. International peacekeepers and independent monitoring bodies must ensure our safety during and after return. And most importantly, Rohingya boys must be part of every discussion, negotiation, and decision about our future. The international community has a moral duty in this regard. Words of sympathy are not enough. We need a strong action. Pressure must be applied on Myanmar atrocities to restore our rights. Accountability must be pressured. Accountability must be pursued through the International Court of Justice and the International Criminal Court. Global powers and regional actors, including ASEAN and OIC, must take responsibility in ensuring our safe return. The safety in returning our home, the safety become first because we were not safety for decades, and then even today our people are being killed, and then safety our safety and security must be ensured to going back to our home. And what I am trying to say is that every day we are calling the international community uh, to join us, to help us, to support us, and for the security. And then, and as you know that our people are not not safe in our current state, in the current situation, and then even in the under the Arkan army. And starting from the 2024, many people were being killed, many people were killed, and then the international community failed to save them, and then fail to yeah. What I am trying to say is the security is must, and our in if the international community is not able to give us the safety, and then we are calling the international community to help us and to empower us to protect our people by us. And then it is what I am trying to say, and then all and support must be extended to Bangladesh, and but with the clear focus on securing a durable solution in Myanmar. Repatriation is not just about returning home, it's about restoring our dignity, reclaiming our identity, and rebuilding our future in the land of our ancestors. It's about ensuring that our children grow up with education, hope, and opportunities, not in endless camp, but in their rightful homeland. We must remain united, res- resilient, and hopeful. Our struggle for justice and reparation must not be, must, our reparation is not just for us, but for the generation to come.
Thank you.
As
Thank you so
well,
much.
yeah, thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Abdullah. Very eloquent, and I appreciate you being very forthright in saying what needs to be said. The audience, let me now go back to subject matter expert Dr. Imtiaz Ahmed. And sir, if you kindly tell us what you hear from them, as well as ongoing conference that is happening in Cox's Bazar, and we are curious to know from your expertise, how do you see moving forward in, let's say, 5 years, and some of these expectations are met by the international community or otherwise? Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you, Kausar. Good to hear two very grounded speakers. Uh, I think it's important to remember that we are now in the eighth year, uh, and uh, the atrocities that was done, it's a clear case of genocide in whichever definition you want to use. But the legal definition that we have of genocides fits 100% when it comes to the Rohingya genocide. Now, the issue today is what do we do about this genocide, and and how do we resolve this? Now, I think if we want to see some of the approaches, and I have outlined ones, that altogether, 7 or 8 approaches one can see so far, starting from 2017 onwards. We see one is the bilateral approach that Bangladesh and Myanmar started, but that came to a halt, nothing much. Then we saw the tripartite approach also, Bangladesh, Myanmar, and China. That's the only country which has a tripartite approach. And I've always questioned why only China, why not Japan, why not India? They also have good relationship with both the countries, but somehow there's no development on having another country starting a third a tripartite approach. Then we have the multilateral approach with international organizations, involved, and something of that we see today. Our chief advisor has gone to Cox's Bazar. There's a 3-day conference, and that's part of the multilateral approach because we see international organization, particularly the UN agencies. We see the European countries, even the Chinese ambassador was also there. Um, Up until now, we saw 11 countries came out with a joint statement, and in that joint statement, well, bulk of them are from Europe. Uh, the only major exception in that 11 countries is Germany. I did not see Germany. I don't know whether it was, whether the person was not there or something. So Germany's name is there, but uh, the Chinese were also not there, and the United States was also not there in that joint statement. I think it looks that the multilateral approach also has limits, and we have seen the United Nations, particular United Nations, did not make any headway to another continuing genocide that we see today in Gaza. That gives us little hope that this multilateral approach will work. At the most, what it can do is raise funds, because the funding issue has also become very critical after the Republican Party has come to power. As you know, there's a cost-cutting policy on the part of Donald Trump, mainly to resolve or contain the big deficit that they have, $38 trillion deficit. So, they have stopped the US aid. They have come out from WHO, UNICEF, and I believe they're going to come out from other UN organizations, it seems. So there is a issue on that, and I think this particular conference probably will give some sense as to what can be done when it comes to the humanitarian support. But beyond that, I don't see this particular conference to be effective. Now, to be effective, particularly in the context of resolving the issue of 1.3 million Rohingyas going back to Myanmar, and don't forget there are also other Rohingyas in, according to my research, 19 countries. There are Rohingya diaspora, a big diaspora spread throughout the world. But even if you take this 1.3 million going back, I think we need, to keep note of some of the things. One is, I don't think you can resolve this issue without 4 key stakeholders. One stakeholder, of course, would be Myanmar Tatmadaw, the Myanmar military, or the Myanmar state. Second is Arakan army, but which we have heard also the atrocities that they have also committed, Arakan army. But 2 other stakeholders, and they are in this region. They are also very important, and one, of course, is China, and other is India. Both have direct, territorial boundaries with Myanmar, Both have been together in all the UN resolutions that was tabled in New York. Both voted, in the same way. They were together. Whenever the Rohingya issue or even on the issue of Myanmar, they have been together, though they have differences in other areas, but on the issue of Rohingya and Myanmar, they have been together. So we need, given that context, we must come out with something out of box. Now, the lessons that I think, where should we take lessons from? I think the lessons, we must go back to the Second World War, or what is known as the anti-fascist war, the World Anti-Fascist War. I think World War II, there are good lessons from there to take. And now that is 80 years, as you know, this is, they are now, I don't know whether we should whether we should say celebrating or remembering. World War II would be better because there are a lot of pain that went through the Second World War. I think one can take lessons from Second World War and what the United States did. They continued in supporting the genocide issue, and for which we had the Nuremberg trial, we saw. But at the same time, they started with the Marshall Plan, and this is unique because history has never seen a victorious power supporting a defeated power. This probably was the first time one can start digging history, whether it happened earlier, but it did not happen in First World War. And that's the reason a lot of people say, it contributed to the rise of Hitler because the reparations were very high. The economic sufferings that the Germany people went through, Hitler was able to exploit that easily, and that contributed to Nazism. But after going through the Second World War, I think the Secretary of State Marshall came out with a brilliant idea, in fact, for which he got the Nobel Prize also later, was to think of a Marshall Plan. Now, here I think this is something that CRIC, with Dr. Kausar, David, and others have already started working, and I believe it is also important to have the Rohingyas in. Now, the question that I have always raised when going to the camps in Dhaka, I remember last time I went in December as part of the UNHCR delegation, and we had a very good discussion with Rohingyas who were getting trained in different things from computer to English language. One of the questions that I raised was what are they going to do after they go back, whether they have worked on the health policy. Do we know? Because the 1.3 million people going back, the next morning they need to think how many hospitals you will need, where will the doctors come from, where will the medicine come from, have anyone worked on this? At the same time, have you worked on the agriculture? Where will the fertilizers come from? What crops are you going to grow? Who are you going to trade with? Similarly, have you worked on the education policy? How many whiteboard you are going to need? Where will the teachers come from? Will there be a library that is already there? Where will the books come from? What will be the syllabus? Have you worked on this? So we went on and on for some time, and there were 30 of them almost. They said, no, we haven't thought about it. But somebody has to do that work. And I was telling my own story about my life in 1971. I was just a class 9 student. I left my parents, did not tell them. I went to Agartala, I went to India, slept on the pavement. So I have gone through that exercise. And we had a genocide back in 71. And I have seen what genocide is. We had 10 million refugees. The refugee situation at that time was really horrifying. In some account, over 1 million people died in the refugee camps. But I remember even at that age, we sat down when we talked about what would be the education policy, what kind of what you call international support we can get. I still remember, and this came out very well. I'm sure some of people will know about Mr. Zafrullah, worked on the health policy way back. We know about Fazle Abed, even at that time, talked about how he want to build post 71 Bangladesh. So I think this exercise needs to be done, and that exercise without Abdullah, without Moshir, it's not going to go far because they are in the ground. So my request would be to CRIC, if they can be included in this exercise, because if we can have this exercise today or tomorrow, it will work, and there will be a lot of professionals coming out, and we can sit down and bargain then also, because somehow I think the pressure that both the speakers talked about, bringing pressure on Myanmar. For last 8 years, we haven't seen big pressure, and we see the pressure doesn't work. We have seen with the Ukraine war. Look at the pressure that the West gave on Russia. The number of sanctions is unthinkable, but that it didn't work. And now again we see, Donald Trump going to Alaska, and Putin also coming to Alaska and meeting, and they're trying to now resolve the issue. So these are important lessons to take from. My position is those who are not in the government, because government has its own way of looking at things, which is fine. I have no problems with all the approaches, whether it's bilateral, multilateral, the issue of accountability. I think that should go on. ICJ, ICC, that should continue as it is. But those will take time, as Nuremberg trial took a lot of times. But at the same time, we need to start working on this issue, on the health policy, on the education policy, on the agriculture policy, on the fishery policy, on the infrastructure policy, all those. And there are, we can come to an 8 or 10 areas. And here, I think the Rohingyas, if they are involved, they can also create a momentum within their community, because I know a good number of Rohingyas in London. I met them recently, just a month back. I met some of them. I had a long discussion with them. I know some of them in Japan, in Australia. I know them. I know some of them in Canada, in Germany. So there are a good number of Rohingyas, very talented Rohingyas, who can actually contribute, whether it's infrastructure, understanding of what to do in the Arakan region in terms of health policy, because somebody has to do that work. And if we can build research, then we can think of a Marshall Plan as well. And as I said, all the other approaches are fine. I have no problem with all the approaches. Those should continue. So if we can take lessons from what the United States did way back, during the Second World War, having both the Nuremberg trial and at the same time having the Marshall Plan, I think this is something which can be a win-win situation. So I still have hope that humans have the capacity to innovate, to be creative, because at the end of the day, what we want is a peaceful life for both people of Bangladesh, for the Rohingyas, and even for the people of Myanmar. There is no hatred. Yes, those who have committed genocide, they have to be brought to trial as part of the justice. But there are a good number of people from Myanmar, and we know some of them who also are part of the what you call trying to support the Rohingya issue internationally. So let's see, what can be done. And I believe CRIC is in the right track. And I hope my what you call any support anytime on any of the issues. Let's continue. The struggle has to be a bigger one. And I believe one day we'll be able to resolve the issue, and the Rohingyas will be able to get their identity back and live in their homeland. So I'm very optimistic that we will be able to do this because we are on the right side of history. I'll stop there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It's a very sobering remembrance of Second World War and how Germany was reconstructed through Marshall Plan. So we are coming to the end of our session, and now let me bring David Newman, our founder advisor, a lawyer by profession, and a former legislator in province of Manitoba. David, what do you see in general about this issue? Because you are aware of this whole matter, and what do you see for the future of Rohingyas?
I see through the eyes and experience, heart and minds of Canadians who have been, through prosperity and freedom and rights and exercise of responsibilities, adopted human rights and responsibilities and values as a way forward. And Kauser and others in the Bangladesh community of Winnipeg and Canada and throughout the world have led a recognition of this genocide at our Canadian Museum for Human Rights right here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And that therefore means that there is a place in an interactive learning center for everyone that visits there to learn about this situation. But the way forward, which has been so eloquently described, I would emphasize values as the basis for going forward. I would emphasize even more important, or as important as rights, are responsibilities for self-empowerment. And self-empowerment means the adoption of the kinds of policies and systems which are the Rohingya way, the way forward. Their values, their solidarity in the way they want to lead lives individually and collectively as a people. And I think of what has caused a rise, resurgence, empowerment by Indigenous peoples of Canada as we evolve into a multi-nation federation with the identity and the values and the cultures and spiritual approach of Indigenous peoples being part of our multicultural Canada. So we're effectively doing the kinds of things that now we're proving can be done. I think often when you speak of the plight of the Rohingya, of the Jewish peoples, and what they did in their history and what they have done to survive over the years, and of course now going through their own problem of when you have power and you've built your systems, are you going to then practice the values which cause you to get there? Or are you going to adopt violence as solutions? The other thing that Canada has done, and I really encourage you, is your quest for justice as a lawyer and a person that was in the legislative executive branch. I know the absolute importance of a feeling of justice, and you get a feeling of justice through having rules. So creating rules based on values can be a wonderful way forward. No better resistance to misuse of power than to resist by values and your different approach, your improvement on the perpetrators of violence as to how to lead a sustainable, good life. So building that by example in your schools that Moshar is working on, building that amongst youth, building it amongst the elders, bringing pride. All of that is going to contribute to your resilience becoming the foundation for a future within what has been your homeland, and that is in Myanmar. So I really see great hope from what's been expressed by Moshar and Abdullah, and it is you must know that the best of our world, the best of the United Nations, wants you to succeed. The problem is that right now we have the United States going backwards in their international policy. So it's up to nations like Canada, if we stand up and continue to support Indigenous peoples in the world, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. All those are the values which Canada supports and can be the foundation of your future. The United Nations has long supported self-determination, but it is losing its momentum because of countries like the United States that are going backwards under authoritarian leadership. So we're with you, and congratulations for being such a strong and courageous voice. Thank you.
Thank you, David, very much. What an uplifting message. The audience, we are going to close this session now, and I thank all of you, especially our two Rohingya young leaders from the camps. Mosharraf is a very known face here because he works with us, and Abdullah, I met him for the first time today, but very brilliant, minds. I'm sure Rohingya communities will be greatly benefited from their leadership. And if we want to summarize what we have heard today, it reflects what Rohingyas actually want at the end of the day. And it remains to be seen how we get it implemented. And Bangladesh government has arranged a 3 days multilateral workshop, seminar, conference in Cox's Bazar, which is going on. And on 30th September, there will be a high-profile sideline event in the United Nations headquarters in New York. And hopefully we should be there as well, representing our organization. At the end of the day, the audience, Conflict and Resilience Research Institute Canada is implementing a Global Affairs Canada project titled Charting a Lasting Peace in Myanmar. In this particular project, we are following through what Dr. Imtiaz mentioned in his remarks, that once the repatriation happens, what Rohingyas are going to need is all this infrastructure, starting from education, healthcare, and so on and so forth. So we are working on that plan because we believe the solution of the problem lies within Myanmar. But in the meantime, Rohingyas are facing uphill battle where they live now, especially in the education sector where we are deeply involved. And Musharraf himself, we are seeing the regular problems in discharging services in the education sector. And of course, the aid cut has added another layer of problems with regards to servicing Rohingya population in the camps. However, as a human being, we should be hopeful. We remain hopeful about the resolution of the conflict, and we can see Rohingyas repatriate in their homeland with safety, security, and dignity. The audience, please follow us in our social media feeds and in YouTube channel. You will always find us posting and sharing our information on research and the current Global Affairs Canada grant, Charting a Lasting Peace in Myanmar. And on the last note, on 26th of September and 27th of September, we are going to organize an international summit in Winnipeg, Manitoba, the center of North America. and we'll be live streaming our session, and we're going to discuss more in details about our plan of reconstructing Arakan, where Rohingyas have come from. So please tune in for the next seminars and symposiums in September. Take care and stay well, stay safe. Bye bye.